right. So I have with me Retro from Adults with Jobs. It's a little awkward to always say congratulations since it's a split, but congratulations on taking a game off of Disco Tits.
Thank you.
Now,
And yeah, that was really hard, hard one to do.
so obviously you lost the first game. How were you guys feeling when you went into the second game?
We really had to shake that first one off. It was, I mean, they were dominant. We were like complete. It was completely um, punishing, really. Like we couldn't leave base after minute 14 or something like that. So it's just something we had to shake off and look forward to the next game.
Yeah, were you guys concerned that they might try to pull out a similar strategy on Infernal Shrines?
We were for Infernal Shrines. We were concerned about a hammer comp because we'd
Okay.
seen them do that before. So we didn't think they were going to do that again on that map. Just a hammer.
Yeah. Obviously, your comp worked out really well for you. Was that the game plan? Basically, Warden's Cage and dropping bombs with Kel'Thas on top of their heads simultaneously?
Yeah, the real power, I think, and the reason that we do that comp is the white main damage ult. I don't know what it's called because I've never played white main, but that damage ult is like the same exact radius as the cage.
Yep.
So the amount of healing throughput once we dive into it is just absurd.
Yeah.
And of course, the Kel'Thas helps dropping the bombs.
Yeah, you get Divine Reckoning dealing damage. You have the healing throughput from it. You have Kel'Thas dropping damage. Then Maiev, who's able to blade dance and throw those knives over and over and spam. And then I Just Fizz comes in with some big jet propulsions as well during those fights.
Yeah, yeah, that was it. Was we were kind of like all inning on that 60-second ult timer, and if we had it, we would dive no matter what. If we didn't, we would kind of avoid them.
Yeah. So did you guys just kind of go into game two with that plan of we're going to basically be able to win the team fights once you saw the draft, or is that how you felt?
Yeah, once we saw the draft, we held the Maya pick till the very end because we were looking for certain counters that we've experienced that shut it down, and they didn't have any of them. So, and we kind of thought that maybe it forced once we showed that, they picked the Medivh because of it, which I don't know how much they play Medivh, but I feel like it may have weakened the overall draft because they needed the Medivh to survive.
Yeah. Obviously, it didn't save them come later in the game. Although, were you guys expecting them to kind of keep running at you after you had gotten that advantage and you picked up multiple kills towards the end of the game, allowing you to actually go in core?
At the very, very end, we didn't really expect the aggression, but throughout the game, as we started to get a level lead, we definitely did. I mean, they're very confident. At least they look confident and extremely aggressive. So we kind of expected constant clashes.
That makes sense. Now, for your team, who does the drafting and who does the shot calling? Is it a one man operation, a team thing?
We're heading more towards a team thing. It used to be one man, but I think we suffered. I was the shot caller solely. I'm
Okay.
still the macro caller, and a lot of times in fights I'll call targets. But everyone contributes and has ideas. So during the game, everyone has ideas. Our drafter is really Nats.
Okay.
She's our scout, so she does a huge amount of work to know what the enemy's going to pick and what we should pick, and gives us a lot of ideas going into the drafts.
That makes sense. Now, in game one, what was your game plan? Obviously, you lost that game, but what was your game plan to try and stop them from getting all that global pressure?
The Falstad was our only coin in that bucket, I guess. Randy wanted to pull the Asmodan out. And I shouldn't have shut him down, but I did. I said no. But I think maybe if we had taken the Asmodan and the Falstad, we'd have had better luck trying to stop him.
It's possible. I mean, their big problem was obviously they didn't ultimately have a real healer. So if you're chunking them in AoE terms, it becomes a lot harder for an Abathur to heal his team versus single target damage.
Right. We hadn't. I mean, it wasn't completely confirmed that they were going no healer by the time we were gonna make the Asmo pick. So, although like it looked great afterward, that Asmo would have been a really good pick. It wasn't 100% known that they were gonna go no healer.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a toss up on if people are going to employ that strategy or they're going to be a little more, a little less unconventional there and go with an actual support to go along with the rest of the team.
Right. Yep.
Now, how were you guys feeling when you came into this series? Were you expecting 2-0, 1-1, or even maybe like an 0-2?
We were well, we were expecting a really tough fight,
Mm-hmm.
but we were kind of expecting a 1-1. From the scouting that we did, we saw some inconsistencies. Like in some games, they were extremely dominant, like scary dominant, and in some they got beat by teams we were like, we didn't expect that. So it was kind of inconsistent. So because of that, we figured maybe it would be a 1-1.
Okay. I'm not sure if it could also very well be like who they pull in for certain games on their
Yeah, that
roster.
we noticed that too. They've got a D roster and they play everyone. And they also like don't have roles, so it's really hard to. I mean, we really can't like target ban them because everyone plays everything, and so we just had to play our game instead. We couldn't ban anybody out. We just try to pick our good heroes.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Now, how do you guys feel after that series? Do you feel all right with like the results and overall how you played?
Yeah, I think we're gonna watch the Sky Temple game and try to figure out a different way to handle that because that was just absurd. The Abathur and the Samuro. Once we saw that, our hearts kind of all sank. We're like, well, we're never getting a camp then. So we kind of just hoped for controlling the temples and getting our XP swings through buildings, but
Hmm.
that didn't really work out either. So
Yeah, I think you guys had a decent early game, and then they started to get like some snowballing from some of the kills they started to pick up, reversing some of the momentum you had in the early game. From my point of view.
oh yeah, that definitely happened, and we staggered a little bit, and got the what was it like 3 minutes where they had storm talents and we didn't, and that was really painful.
Yeah, definitely is painful to try and fight 20 versus 19, and then they got the pick on Randy over there right before you hit 20 as well.
Yeah, yeah, that was. We're like, well, we're probably good. We can rotate straight to top and contest, and that didn't work.
So before we get going, are there any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yeah. So, shout out to NGS, all the staff and all the work that's excellent. I really like the league, and to my team, and to Nats specifically because she does a huge amount of scouting work, and we'd all be kind of blind without her. So she's great.
So, yeah, thanks again for joining me for the interview, and best of luck in the rest of the season. As clearly you guys are doing fairly well, and I'm assuming you guys are expecting to go into the playoffs. So, are there any teams you guys are keeping an eye out for that you want to actually play against, or are just concerned about like they might be really tough?
Well, Archetype is a powerhouse. They're a monster. So we scrim against them a lot. So we're a little. I think that's going to be really tough. I'm really looking forward to playing the Burrows again. They're like our nemesis now, sort of. So, or our sister team. I don't know. I mean, there's no animosity between us. We just have really good sets. So, I wouldn't say playoffs are clinched or anything like that, but we're definitely aiming at that. At making the playoffs. And I think we can do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for joining me, and have a good night or a good sleep, depending on what you're planning to do next.
I really appreciate it. And shout out to you for giving us the cast. You guys are awesome.
No problem. All right.
Thanks.
Bye. All right. I'm going to see if anyone from Disco Tits actually wants to come in for an interview. Normally, I don't do splits, but in this case, I'll kind of make an exception. And when a team will ask, I'll go in. Let's see if anyone's on. Oh, he's already in quick match. They're already in quick match, so I can't get a second interview in. All right, guys. Thanks for the raids. Unfortunately, I literally just finished up doing the set, but I do appreciate the raids nonetheless. And Linehouse and Murda. I mean, don't have much else to do since there's nothing else to cast. But if you don't know where you are, hopefully you can tell from right down there. And if you enjoyed the cast, hit follow. Subscribe if you really loved it, because I actually do have emotes. I have my Twitter, so you can actually catch when I go stream. I have my VODs on YouTube when I'm not lazy and do them on the weekends because I don't have time to cast, eat, work, and do editing on the videos usually during the week. But hopefully you've all enjoyed the cast, and if you have, I'd like to see you all come back. That's more important than follows or even subscriptions. It doesn't really matter. Really come back to watch my cast. And if you enjoyed it, feedback that you enjoyed it is always awesome. If you didn't like it, let me know what you didn't like, and I'll go and try and fix that. And in case you missed the chat, so comms while feeding for Disco was go through the portal and commit suicide. That's pretty hilarious. So thanks so much everyone for joining me. I'm gonna probably play one quick match. Well, not quick match, an unranked game. If you want to stay around and stick around, you're more than welcome to. Obviously, you don't have to. And afterwards, I'll go and raid someone else after I get one game in. So thanks again, and have a good night if you're not planning to stick around.